Okay. Ugh. Get settled and then end up messing around anyway. It looks fine. Sound wise, yep. Okay. Fun, fun, fun. It's a rainy day here. Um, Welcome in. Okay, so today's stream, day 2 of the week of um the viewer friendly project, right? So, 2 days a week we do water, drink water. The rest of the week I do um agile project management stuff. But every day I try to do development is the goal. So yesterday we were having an issue. So if I start up water, drink water, let's see. So at first I was wondering whether it was an issue with, with Blazor and Rider not functioning well together. So I was ending up with it not reloading properly. So I just was making changes and it not taking place. Um, Interesting. Where's that come from? Debug. Fail to fetch. Blocked by cause. What? How can it have been blocked by cause? I was working with this yesterday. Edit configurations. Start immediately after the previous has started. So the API has to be up. And I mean, we can add a specific origin. I don't see why that would be required. Origins. HTTPS. Localhost 7077. Start that up and see. Nope. Why would this now break? It's gonna be one of them days. Definite. Set request mode to no calls. That's fine. Accessed has been blocked by calls policy. Being that my calls policy says that's allowed right through, and this was working yesterday, I doubt that's the case. So today's stream is today's streaming is going to come in 2 parts. The first part is going to be water, drink water. And that's going to go just before I would normally end. I need to go to a doctor's appointment, so I will be ending a little early. However, I do have the day off work, so I will be in all likelihood starting another stream later. Why are you not? That was a flat out connection refused. Nice, working on a side hustle on a day off work feels so good. Yeah. Yeah, so I'm connection refused. Why would they refuse it? Nothing to commit. Yeah, so I'm gonna stream water drink water this morning, try and get this fixed. So Junicus does have a PR to review. What I wanted to do is get this up and running, show the problem, review Junicus's PR, and see if I could figure out from what he changed what kind of fixed it by piecing it in, and then move forward. So the idea here is basically we should be able to log into the application, and the menus should change, and you should see you should be able to access logs and preferences, etc. for your user. Right now you have to refresh. So that is the goal. But I am not seeing why that would clean solution, rebuild. And this was functioning yesterday, so I have no reason to believe it's broken. Unless no, Visual Studio changed something. No. Authorizing, reload. Calls. Access to fetch validate. So what happens is when it logs in, it should try and validate that by making this API request. The reason I'm doing it as an API request is because obviously the server knows if it's valid or not. And the presence of a token on the client is not. Well, presence of the token on the client just says I've got a token on the client, doesn't mean it's actually good. So the idea here would be that this validates the actual request. Access to let's see this. Let's go over here. F12 that. Performance application. Let's clear the token out and start from fresh and see what happens. Okay, so test at nowhere.com. You fail. So now watch this. So interesting, the token had expired. Huh. So, but that showed the problem, right? The problem was the when I logged in, I got fail, and fail comes from the browser. App here, you fail, right? So that's coming from that. So let's have a look at what Junicus did. So Junicus got this working. So, okay, so we created, if not authorized, show login. So we create a login component, right? So all that's doing is taking, let's create a, I'm not bypassing his pull request here. I just want to figure out which pieces we were missing. So he created a login component where the authorize is, and then navigates back to the beginning, to the home page, which is fine. Where we show home is then just a blank page. Welcome. Okay. Got rid of the we made a scope still, but as we determined yesterday, this is running on the client, right? This is WebAssembly. So everything is technically a singleton because it's uh it's that instance of the client running it. So I'm not going to end up with someone else's authentication state provider in this case, right? So he ejects the ASP into the user service. So he reverses the. Private. Where's this? What code is it changing? Log out and. Okay, so ultimately, the ASP injects local. So ASP injects local storage now, and the ASP. Pass claims from JWT. Well, I don't have any specific claims in here, right? Yeah, we're not using any roles or anything like that. So I'm just trying to figure out what. What is this? View file. So authenticate. So on authenticate, we do the, which kind of makes sense to make the user service responsible for notifying that. So what I'm trying to do is I want to kind of piece it in so we can figure out where we went wrong. So here's how we do it. So create a new component, right? That's login. And then take this piece from here, put that in there. He made that a form, right? So an actual form, which I didn't. Edit form. And then form data. And then took the import missing references. And then the actual form. Yeah, he actually overdid the entire form. Code to look behind. So what that allows me to do now is in the navigation, I can do login. Right. that. That's all that piece. Impacts merged by hand. No, what I want to do is I just want to kind of piece it in and see which piece actually fixed it. So Junicus made some changes, and I just want to see which piece actually made the difference. So I'm going to break out the form, then try and log in and see which piece actually did it. So I think, because overall, what it didn't change very much about what we did. And I would be upset if it's kind of the order things going, right? Because that would be bad. But I don't like the ASP basing its off on edit form. No. No includes, no. ASP core components. No. Should build. Wow. The chat tool that I use, the chat window I use for the stream on the prompter, missed your merge by hand comment, so it's good that I looked to the right. That's interesting. Wonder if it's not displaying smile emotes. Huh. Let's see if that even functions. Yep, that displayed. Okay, so we get that. Okay. So now we don't see the logging component. Okay, so that's because now that is not showing that Y. So at this point, this is more of a not authorized show logging. Stubborn desire to understand. Why don't you include that? That shouldn't matter. So from what we determined yesterday, right? That has been, this has been replaced with that, right? So we shouldn't actually have to do this, right? But the the um the example program that you, when you create a standalone web app, not standalone web app, when you create a brand new WebAssembly app, does have that in there. So it'll be interesting to know if that's the difference. So that's why I'm piecing this in, is like, what made the difference, right? Why don't you actually detect that? That's a component. I should see it. Oh, using blazor.wa.tbd.components. That'll make the difference. There you go. How I do the programming. Okay. Let's stop all. Run that. Okay. Hi, King Carthy. How you doing? That's why I'm not seeing login. I should be seeing login. Learning step by step. Best way to do it. Tweak something, fix something, change something. So did he modify the home page to actually always have the... I don't think he changed the... And that's an nav menu. Pages, home. Yeah, home doesn't allow... Oh, hold on. Did I include that? Yeah, I did. I included that one. So that shouldn't matter. And then in there, I have all the other functionality now. Okay, so that goes away. That goes away. That goes away. Oh, but this is... Yeah, okay. Um, yeah, okay. So I'd have to try and go to a route to see the login. Yeah. There you go. Okay. So if we do test at nowhere.com, password. Yeah, you kind of need a button in there, don't you? You post any tutorial for these languages? I don't post, I don't post specific tutorials. Beginner level tutorials is not something that I necessarily feel comfortable doing at this point. If only because I don't think I can I don't know how good they would be. Is there anything specific you're after learning? Also, every time I come near these things, do these things to grow your channel. I'm not. That's not something I'm necessarily chasing. Um, I want to provide value to the people that actually watch the content, right? Like I made a video last weekend on Mediator. That was at the request of someone who comes into the stream, right? Could you highlight this because it's the technology I use. So I'm more interested in if there's things that people who come into the stream think that I can present well, and think that they could learn from that, then I'll produce that sort of content rather than chasing necessarily. Here's a tutorial on software development. Here's a tutorial on making a Blazor app, etc. Which at the moment I'm failing badly at. So that would be a kind of hilarity to show. But I'm not chasing necessarily rapid growth of YouTube. I put the videos up so people can use them and people can, if they find them useful, then that's good. But yeah. Okay, so is that not submitted now? Am I just dense? Execute login. I bet I'm missing that part. No, because that's it's a submit button. It should submit on valid submit. What am I doing wrong here? This is just going to be that sort of day. Okay, we're doing that. Result. True. Ah, but it's navigating back to us. That's why. What language do I suggest to learn for backend? I mean, I'm a .NET developer, right? So I'm going to say C# then. But what do you want to develop? Do you have something specific you want to develop? Are you chasing a career path? There's all sorts of different reasons that would go into that. Okay, so what we need to do. Okay, so that did show the logout then, right? That showed the login, right? So test at nowhere.com. Test. My vicious defender dog. Now only I am starting my career. Right. I mean, so you've done Sql, right? So why doesn't that redirect to there? If I go to test at nowhere.com, do test. It navigates to log, but it still shows login because the state hasn't changed. Okay, that's fine. Okay, so we're kind of where we were yesterday, right? Now let's change some other things. So if we do that, so we rule out any chance of actually creating more than one ASP. Oh, hold on. No, there's a crucial piece I'm missing there now. That isn't there. That wasn't there before. So what Junicus did was change the user service, right? So the user service now injects the ASP. So authentication state provider, authentication state provider. Yeah, I mean, what are you after as far as the career goes, right? That's the key thing. Now I'm trying to web development, right? So I mean, there's plenty of languages that are sufficient for doing web development. If you're comfortable with the client side, if you're comfortable with JavaScript, then you can still use Node and whatnot on the server side of it. If you are, if Java development is the thing, then using Java for tools like that is still valid. So like for me, I love C#. I spent my entire career, or most of my career so far, working with C#. Something I enjoy doing is something that I think that is, it's not going to go anywhere soon. So I can rely upon the fact that Microsoft is supporting it and is still building it, and there's still jobs out there for it, right? If jobs started to dry up in .NET and became a little harder, then I'd have to consider learning different tech stacks, etc. The one thing I would say is if you're early in your career is try and make sure that cloud is something that you understand enough to be able to deploy applications into it. It is my biggest weak area, my biggest blind spot. I'll say, single biggest blind spot. I have blind spots, right? But cloud is something that I didn't pick up at the right time. So now I'm kind of a little scared of it. I don't want to do it on stream because obviously I don't understand what I'm doing, and there's a lot of different technologies to take in there. So it is something I'm trying to correct in my personal time. But yeah, it would be something I'd recommend. So we're going to see if that changes anything. Okay, so when we log in, we're going to notify the user has changed and see if that changes any behaviors there. Because that's one of the other things that Junicus did. Now, the final thing that Junicus did do was he based the authentication state provider off of the token, not off of my service here. So that looks like that's got stuck in some sort of loop. Yes, that's got stuck in some sort of loop, hasn't it? Yep. That ain't good. Uh-oh. More tools, developer tools. Oh, come on. Okay. More tools, develop tools. Let's go and clear. Going to this is no. There's no storage for it. That ain't good. That's not good. Okay, new problem. Blazor WebAssembly stuck at 100%. Uh-oh. So the problem there is what is that doing? I didn't change anything significant there. I'm trying to change enough pieces for it to definitely recompile and then see if it breaks it. Come on. Laser not loading. Okay about that. Also, I'll feel Snibble. How you doing? Oh, so it's not throwing an error. Is there any other way to merge except by hand? Uh-huh. Are you referring to this or are you asking a question? Because I am manually piecing in a PR. Ah. Yeah, so the question, I packed, because Junicus made this PR, and rather than just merge it in and assume it's working, I'm trying to identify what was going wrong yesterday. So we're trying to when we log into the application, have it redirect and then update the UI, right? And it wasn't working unless I hit F5. So Junicus did the PR, and I'm trying to figure out what in his PR actually made the difference, because the only thing I can see that's different is instead of having my service be called here, he based this on the actual token. So this requires the local storage token to work. So yeah. Desperate times, call for desperate measures. We're opening the Visual Studio. Oh joy. What did I break? Like at some point, I agree that my lack of knowledge with Razor, with Blazor is going to be a detriment to me, okay? I acknowledge that I'm not necessarily the best at this piece. However, this is just infuriating. Hold on. No, I did the right thing. Okay. Builder.services.add singleton. Yeah, that's what it was. Start it up again. Um, I just don't know or understand what it is I've changed that would cause that to happen. There's no error being thrown. There's no output. There's nothing. Okay, so it's not a Visual Studio tools are doing a better job of cleaning it. Uh, that's that. That's not changing anything because it's not even getting to that point. So I'm safe there. Um, yeah. Unless that's breaking it. That's the only other thing I didn't change there, right? I'd be surprised if that DI was breaking it. No. What? Why would DI? Okay. So let's see. So nothing is reporting the error though. There's no indication as to why that's. There's no error, there's no output there at all about that. But that DI is clearly breaking it. Let's hold on. Let's change something else. Add scoped. So again, this is being run on the client, right? So this is WebAssembly. So singleton or scoped isn't really going to make much of a difference here because the request lifetime, etc. But now that user service will be scoped, so okay, let's go back again. Let's change this to that. Same way Junicus did have it. This PR. Nope. Hello. How are you doing? So I was trying to go through your PR, figure out the changes you made, try and piece them into the thing I had to see which part actually fixed it. Super tired. Oh, you're on the silly schedules again. My apologies. But we have a weirdness. We have a strangeness. If I remove that, do we have a chicken and egg going on here? So that's the other change. Okay, so I get it now. So when the authentication state provider, which is the custom authentication state provider, right? I'm using an API request. So let's just do return false there and then see if that works. No. Huh. So right now, so it's not the API call that's there. Hold on. Wait, task.from results. False. Make sure that's doing the same thing. So, I'm awaiting something. Right now, if I inject this into my user service, it just hangs. Singleton or scoped doesn't make a difference. So I'm just kind of going through and seeing which pieces you change. So I know that you made this read from the JWT, right? Rather than actually having, being told its state by the validation request. But that's not the problem. Yeah. But again, as long as this validates the token, then it doesn't really make a difference. But oh, of course, I'm an idiot. I'm an idiot. It's circular dependency. I haven't been able to eat breakfast yet. That's my excuse. I want to eat breakfast, but I've got a doctor's appointment. I was injecting user service into custom authentication provider, then injecting custom authentication provider into user service. So I had a circular dependency. Dear. Okay, so that's that problem. That's why it's not loading. That's me being a complete idiot. And the reason it's not failing is because it's just stuck in resolving itself. So that's one behavior. So let's go back over here now. So I need to, if I want to do it this way, I have to, I can't have the user service injected there, or I can't. But again, let me just comment this out, right? Comment this out, right? So this, right now, all I'm doing is essentially that, right? I'm doing public authentication state provider. Right. So that's essentially what I'm doing right this second. But that's what wasn't working previously, right? So this should now at least load and function because hey Odie Zeus, how you doing? Okay, so we'll load this up again, right? And then we do test.nowhere.com and test. Right? Same behavior. If I refresh, it'll be loaded. Right? Ta-da. Okay. The C's might, but my brain is getting duller, that's for certain. Okay. So I've changed singleton, I've changed this, I've changed we've moved the component, we've changed that around, and we get no look on the whole thing. So let's now go and so I appreciate that I could just merge the PR and it work, but I want to know at what point does it tip over and it actually did change it. So in the user service, what you did is you added a call to user note, so it notifies user authentication, right? Which underneath, from what I was looking at yesterday, I made the logging component so I could put it in the unauth part of the path. Yeah, I figured that was a good move. No one needs to figure it out, get it, because even I'm not sure why I didn't make it. So it's only one direction. Yeah. So then the ASP injects the local storage service, and then we get the token from there. So let's make that change now. We don't need to change very much here. So service towards the provider, not the other way. Yeah. So let's go and make this local storage service, and then instead of this, we are going to do token equals. Oh wait, I think I just call it token anyway. So we're going to do that, and then if token is not null, right? Actually, we do need to do not string that is null or empty. Okay. Because what I thought it was doing was for some reason it was getting two auth providers and you change the state in one, but the other didn't know the change. Yeah, that would make sense, right? Because it, yeah. Now, what this should do is trigger this, right? Just notifying. So I shouldn't have to pass anything in here. It should trigger this and say, hey, this is refreshed. Go get it, right? So let's see if that changes anything. Now, my problem is now when we log in, I want to validate that call. Oh, that definitely did something. Okay, so let's refresh that. Test that nowhere.com. Password. Oh, test. There you go. Hold on. Hold on, hold on. Huh. Is that still happening? There. Log out. Refresh. Okay, so now if I refresh, I'll be logged in. Yep, that's fine. So it doesn't automatically refresh when you navigate, that's for certain, right? So you have to tell it. That's what I wanted to validate there. So now when I authenticate and navigate, that is not enough to tell the auth provider to say, hey, refresh, right? Gotcha. So my belief is that by calling the validate, it will also validate the expiration as well. But if we just use the presence of the token in the auth provider, then it will be valid all the time, as long as there's a token there, even if the token's now invalid. So I think we get some weird behavior there, right? So that's what this is meant to do. Because I think that calling the server, it will validate the actual token and say, yep, it's expired or not. But again, we can learn that. So I have no doubt that if we move this here now, this will work, right? Because again, essentially what we need to do here then is this and this, right? So I think this is now going to work. Kind of. So for anyone joining, we are trying to figure out in Blazor WebAssembly, what we need to do to make the auth token or the state of the application reflect the current status of the logged in user, right? You think it would be nice and simple. Okay, so there we go. There's our preferences. Now if I log out, there we go. Okay, so test at nowhere.com. Test. So that works because now this is based off the token, and the fact that there is a token is good enough now. Which I don't like. Because that was the original problem. Because that won't validate that token. Right, but it'll still show you in a logged in state. It should navigate away, right? So what we should be able to do is validate that token. But the auth state provider shouldn't is clearly not the thing to do it. But if you call validate, it will just call the API and check the token. It won't depend on each other. Right, I can call validate wherever, if that's what you mean. But we need to do it kind of on app start, kind of validate the token, and then so if we don't have a token, validate cache token. I mean, that's essentially what it's doing. This is just a lazy load so it doesn't call it all the time. What good did that do me? that that one's that. Sorry, I'm just following down the rabbit hole there. Why would that matter? That's complaining because it doesn't have a. Yeah. Okay. That's fine. So I'm using that as an excuse to kind of think about what I'm wanting to do. I'm not actually doing anything productive there. I realize that. If not, string. So what? I can't possibly be that. Anything but that. So that's kind of silly. Um. So we need to call this. Um. So where do I do this? The idea would be there. Get authentication state. Is there a kind of a Is there an override on this? Public override. Protected override. Is there any other overrides? No. That's the only override of the ASP. Hmm. So we've got a chicken and egg, really. We can we can we can say we're logged in. but we can't validate the token using the same state provider. Yeah. Make it an actual HTTP client and make it, yeah. Now, is there... So we know this is good. Like inject a different, yeah. So essentially put this stuff inside of that, right? So the token valid, so even this could live inside of it. Let's experiment. What's the worst that happens at this point? What's the worst that happens? We learn a really terrible pattern. So if we do builder.services.add client, like our custom state provider is still based upon, it has to base address equals new URI. It's the same URI. It would separate the auth service. Yeah, it would. The only challenge would be, we'd inject our custom state provider and then we'd authenticate with that custom state provider. So we move these out, right? We'll worry about the rest later. We move these into here, right? Let's add the imports. We'll worry about the token and stuff. So now I want to kind of do something similar to the user service where I get a lazy load. Although it's kind of redundant at this point. Just more, if we've loaded it, we've loaded it. But it doesn't really make a difference here. Just go with that. Local storage service. And then we need an HTTP client. That would make them all compatible. Import missing references. Local storage service. And then essentially we do that. Notify user has changed. That looks like a familiar pattern, doesn't it? And this essentially, if it's not authentic, if not response.is code, then await local storage service dot clear remove item async token, right? Actually, we want to move log out. Well, I don't want to clear async. That's probably a bad thing to do as well. Is authenticated. Yeah. So, is this the right thing to do? I have no idea. But we will learn. And I'm sure that if someone sees us doing this, they're like, what the heck are you doing? Because you could argue we're kind of merging two concerns, right? But in the same, The problem is now we need to inject custom service provider, custom public custom authentication service provider. It's a state provider that we're doing that on now, which doesn't. Again, it doesn't feel wrong. If I'm honest, that doesn't necessarily feel wrong. I mean, it is a state provider. We're authenticating it, so what am I doing? Just replacing dependent. It's replacing the entirely wrong thing. Custom authentication state provider, authentication state provider. I mean, the irony is that this is the home page. I could have actually just put that call in there in user service. I could have said validate. Custom authentication state provider. But again, this is why we're doing this project, right? If you see this and think, "Oh, that's horrendous. I want to change that," you can make a PR for that, right? Um, okay, so that moves everything up. Let's see if the application. Well, it's not totally broken. Nowhere.com test. Oh, boo. How did that put us back to square one? I'm not even calling that right this second. Did I move? Ah, hold on. Now that's getting me a. That's not. That shouldn't have put me back to square one though. Oh, hold on. When we log in, yeah, authenticate, notify user state has changed, which should call that. That can be private. That's what that's telling me now. I don't understand how that put me right back to square one. Why that? Okay. I screwed something major up there. What did that change? Authenticate is authenticated. Is authenticated. So I actually do call it. So I was always calling it. Why wasn't that working? Interesting. Test at nowhere.com. Test. Ah. So when we authenticate, we navigate to log. That's weird. There's nothing I've changed there should really have affected that behavior. A notify user has changed, which should do that, which should trigger that, but it's not happening. So this is not now occurring, probably. Killer Queen, thank you very much for the follow. Hope you're well. Okay, so we get there. We should have called this already. That should have triggered. Let's go put a breakpoint here. Here. Let's go and clear the token. Make sure that's not hanging us up in any way. Okay. Yeah, it should have triggers on first load of the app. Yeah, so nothing, it's not working correctly now as it injects. It has to be something in the way I've changed it with the HTTP client. It's changed its behavior in some way, shape, or form. We get here, we log in, we get the content of the token, our login response, there's that token, we store the token, and we know, no, that's not firing. So let's do, that doesn't matter. Because that should have hit my breakpoint. Authenticate, let's do await. Let's see if that changes anything. I mean, it's clear I've completely broken it right now. Now we'll regress back to the beginning, actually beyond the beginning, but now worse than we were. Use Blazor, they said. It's nice and easy, they said. I'm jumping to Visual Studio to see if the debugging experience is any better, right? I want to make sure that I'm giving it at least the best possible chance before I actually say I am absolutely sick and tired of this. Like, I get it. I could be, well, I am overcomplicating this at this point, but this is something any developer trying to do this is going to have to go through, right? And okay, it is kind of my self-rolled auth, but it's still valid. A jot token is a jot. A JWT is still a reasonable thing to receive here. I'm not doing something completely crazy. Oh, don't start on the calls now. Okay, let's refresh that and give it a better try. Right. Test at nowhere.com. Test. Okay, we hit a breakpoint. That's a good sign. So let's go and put a breakpoint up here, right? And validate what this is doing. Because it could be I'm setting up the user incorrectly, right? Or something weird there, because I've not taken that part of your code yet. Okay, we're getting in there. Token. Identity is authenticated true. User, we have a claim. What makes it authenticated? Is it the fact that I've got claims identity, or gotcha? Okay, we get in there again, and now we're logged in. But we're not getting there now, even though this is being called. This doesn't happen. We'll stop running again, right? And we go back to that, and we go notify user has changed, and run it that way again. Okay, so let's go back. I'm just clearing out the token every time to make sure I'm, okay, so this, now there's no token, identity is authenticated false. Right, okay, so an empty claims identity is authenticated false. Okay, so we get there. Yeah, test at nowhere.com, test. So then, oh, we are getting there now. So now it's just not doing the redirect. The authentication requirements were not met. Requires an authenticated user. Yeah, notify users change it. What the internet changes the view when you pass it. Yeah, so you have to call that. Okay. So let's put it back. We're doing it in Rider because I know that my font size is a little bit chunky in Visual Studio, but I still don't like to use Visual Studio. Okay, I gotta keep an eye on the time. I have to stop the stream early today. I'm gonna stop the stream, and then I'm gonna go to my doctor's appointment, and I'm gonna come back, and I'm gonna start putting another stream, but I'm gonna work on the main project. So you get used to writing, it feels super nice. Yeah, it just feels a more comfortable environment in general. Now I know I can change my font style, I can change the coloring in Visual Studio, but this layout feels much cleaner. Okay, so let's move these methods back. Actually, let's create something separate. Um, auth service, just to kind of keep this working. HTTP client. There's method to my madness. You'll see in a second. Let's go back to here. Let's inject the local storage. We'll worry about that in a second. Worry about that in a second. Remove item async token. And yeah, that's fine. So now let's go back over here and do auth service. That keeps that a bit cleaner. Notify user has changed. Needs to be public again. On the way to the supermarket, I realized that you can't inject a singleton into a scope service, but you've probably already solved it. You can't inject a singleton into a scope service. Yeah, there are some quirky rules around that, right? But yeah, the reality of this is even if I do scoped, it's not going to hurt anything. And maybe it does internally. Because I'm running it on the client, so everything's singleton anyway. So yeah, Mr. Jones, good afternoon. Yeah, I mean, I do know that it will complain about injecting scope into singletons for certain. Okay, so we're gonna do auth service. And over here, we're gonna do something similar. Right. Now into our auth service, we're gonna inject. Now I have the option, essentially. No, I don't. The auth service can't inject. No. So I want to inject the state provider. Authentication. How many years have I known that I can use capital letters to do that, and I still fail to do it to this day. So what we do is we cast to custom authentication state provider, and then we notify user has changed, and then we do it on authenticate again after we've set the token, and then on logout. So we'll do it on validate, right? Which this should call, but I don't think it will. Let's see if we have something similar back to what we had. Super easy all the time. I always take the caps incorrectly. Does not contain. Yeah, okay, so auth service. Of course, it started part of it. No, I do not have a dependency circle again. Oh, reload, error, what do I have? No service for type. Oh. Yeah, you'd be right. What about using underscores as a number separating code? Yeah, that's. I mean, I don't write numbers that big very often. Okay, so we have that behavior back. We log out. We should change. Okay, so we're back to square one. Well, not square one. We're back to progress. We do know that the. Okay, so let's reload. But again, we do now have the problem of the token is not going to get validated. So when I log in now, when I show this page, I should see all the navigation. Why am I seeing? Yeah, there you go. It's redirecting. Ah, that was. That was that happening. So it was. That's the authenticate. That's the validation of the token. But yeah, unless you're cashing checks. Yeah. So I'm still not liking this. I'm liking it better. It is functioning better than it was, without a doubt, right? But that token validation is now reliant upon this call happening in the home page. So if the token expires and you don't go back to the home page because you wouldn't do because it's not available to you, right? Once you go past here, the home page isn't actually available unless you click up here, but right. So how do we make that happen? Good morning, defaults. If I didn't say that, you get 2 stream chances today as well because I'll be back in about an hour and a half. Do a second stream. How do we make it keep a fresh token? I don't know because you set the expiration to be an hour, right? Um, and the so in the API, and again, this is why we're doing all this, right? We're doing this because we say add an hour. Add minutes 1. Let's see how it behaves. Badly, I would imagine. Because again, the token is the only. Let's log out. Yeah, that clears the token. Log in. Test. Get the right behavior. JWT.io. Sorry, I still can't say jut. So, expiration. Yeah. So, navigate here, navigate there. Right. It's not. This doesn't refresh the token by navigation, but through navigation, right? So it's not. It's going to pass the token up, right? But at some point, that's going to become invalid, right? he says. It's been more than a minute, right? What is that in? Oh, no, tell me. Yeah, 8:34:50. Huh. So that's not even being validated. You tell me why generating so hard in .NET and JS and still people learn .NET. How is it so hard? That's it. Why is that? Yeah, the APIs accepting expired tokens. On defaults. We need a bigger TBD. I doubt that very much so. Why are you so small? I'm not small. How am I small? Is this not where I normally am? I've just the camera, the lighting on the camera is good enough today to be so I don't have to put the backdrop on there. So I've not got the square. We need an upgrade. And YouTube, I can't make out a name there, but why is generating a JWT, not only JWT, so hard in .NET than JS, and still people learn .NET? Like, are you genuinely asking there? Is that, you know, there's a lot of things that are hard in JS as well, and people still learn that. So I'm always open to a discussion in what makes that hard, but gotta be practical. Okay, so our server side doesn't even validate the time. Silly JavaScript and his foot guns. Well, auth in general is the hard problem. Absolutely. Right. So, why doesn't that expire? Um, this isn't a Blazor server issue either. This is a web API um, validate. I'm not generating a refresh token, right? So that's definitely not happening. This is the answer. Oh, am I not? Hold on. Hold on. I might not actually be telling it to worry about expiration. Validate lifetime. Validate issuer. Validate lifetime. This building only applies to default lifetime validation. If lifetime validator is set, it will not be called regardless of whether this property is set true. What is it? Token validation parameters. I like how Fritz still uses his very young picture. Uh, so if we're not telling it to validate it, doesn't expire when it should. That's that. Validate lifetime validator. Right. After reading through it, I found out that you could use the same custom validator posted without using two namespaces. Right. So why do we have to do that? Is it not default? Let's just take that. Uh, lifetime validator equals. So what they're saying there is though, if this doesn't matter if we have the validator. Right. Okay. So we just need a custom lifetime validator. Let's just see. I know that might not be the right answer. Um. Um. Token validator. Is that a delegate? It's dead. It's a delegate. Okay. So. Right. Private pool. Is the auth in the wrong order? Hello, right. You mean it's doing authentication and then authorization? You mean those authentication authorization? No, they're not in their own. Right? That's the correct order. Auth before authentication before authorization. First you validate your allowed in, and then you validate what you can do. I believe is the path. Oh, I have to finish up shortly. I really have to finish up because I need to call. So will this accept a delegate here? Date time before expires token parameters. If expires, it's not null. Return expires greater than date time. UTC now. Else return false. That's way more readable than having a static method somewhere. Let's see if that runs. So this should, if it thinks I'm logged in, because again, that the authentication state provider and the client is not validating that token. That's the big problem. Ugh. Well, you're. Oh, back to that again. Oh, fail to fetch. Or one unauthorized. Okay, so that's working now. So let's do application. Yeah, okay, so that's working. Let's refresh. Test at nowhere.com. So the good news there is the token is validating. The bad news is that if it's invalid when you join the application fails. So I've got to probably put something in there to deal with the 401. Okay, so let's go get our token, and then I'll finish up. I'll commit this before I leave. By the way, I will not leave anybody hanging with this if they care about the solution. Okay, so 846.01, so 846. Yes, probably. We need to make sure that allows anonymous. Okay, 846. It's likely, knowing me. Okay, so if I go here now, I'm getting 401. Yeah, so now I'm unauthorized. So now our state needs to change. And we get an error. Yeah. Cool. Okay, well, is it perfect? No. Um, um, log in, log out, we'll update screen. Added. That's good to know though. So if you didn't know it, a token for, even if you say set, validate time expiration, that library will not by default check the time of the token. So I'm going to go through and verify that behavior everywhere else. Although when I'm using auth0 actually, the token is validated with auth0 first, so they will deal with the login redirect. So in the stuff I'm using for the main project, that's not actually concerned. Added timeout expiration. It's because we're building this ourselves and we're not validating that token against a third party. Yeah, added timeout expiration, timeout validation on the token validation token. Moved login, log out to auth service. Still, if token is invalid, custom still thinks it's good. I might go to bed for a bit. No worries. So I am going to, I've pushed that, right? Obviously we can continue to refine this. I think it's worthwhile doing this a little bit more. We'll look at more validation stuff there. So I am going to disappear for now. I will be, and I can't raid. I've literally got to shut things down. I'll be back online in about an hour and a half when I'm going to stream some of the regular project stuff. I'm going to go back to Liquid Sky and continue my. Today is my journey through GraphQL with signal stores and NGRX. I'm trying to look at how to get the data to be kind of asynchronously updated and things like that. So a little bit more crazy than this. Yep, double stream day. I've got a day off work, and Friday will be a long stream because I have another day off work. So yeah, some good stream days this week. So yeah, but cool. Well, thank you all for joining me. Thank you for the help. Thank you for all the contribution. I really do appreciate it. I will be back in a little bit. I'll hopefully see you then. Yep. Okay, guys. Thank you very much. Take care. Bye.